The story begins deep in the forest, where a forest guard scribbles a note on paper, sticks it in a spot, and then leaves. The paper reads, "I am borrowing a body from this forest." We'll find out why he wrote that later. The scene then shifts 3 years into the future. We meet a woman named Lennon, who has just landed a job as a forest officer. She's on her way to join her duty when suddenly, a deer appears in front of her car, startling her. Before Lennon can even react, the deer vanishes. Lennon doesn't pay much attention to it and continues driving to the ranger headquarters. From there, she and the other forest rangers will be sent to different camps for their duties. Lennon is quite reserved, so she doesn't interact much with the other people around her. Soon after, the forest ranger manager gives them orders. No one will take anything from the forest, nor will they leave anything behind. And most importantly, no one will die. These 3 rules sound quite strange, and they go right over the heads of all the rangers. Lennon, however, tries to understand what he means. There are also many photos of missing forest rangers posted here, including the one we saw at the beginning of the movie. The new rangers are told that all of these missing rangers went into the forest but never returned. Lennon finds all of this quite strange. On her way from headquarters to her assigned camp, Lennon is approached by an old couple, Mr. and Mrs. Hyman. Since they live in the same village as Lennon, she speaks to them kindly. Mr. Finley tells Lennon that they'll also be camping in the forest in a few days and hopes to meet her there. After the elderly couple leaves, Lennon and the other rangers are dropped off at their respective camps by helicopter. We see that Lennon's duty station is the same camp where the forest ranger from the beginning of the movie disappeared. Lennon arrives at the camp, cleans it thoroughly, and after finishing her dinner, she looks at a photograph of her sister. Her sister had gotten lost in this very forest as a child and never returned. Lennon had promised that she would become a forest ranger and find her sister, which is why she joined the force. As time passes, Lennon notices many names of forest rangers who were previously on duty at this camp, all of whom vanish from here. This is quite strange, but Lennon tries not to dwell on it and goes to sleep. The next morning, Lennon sets out for a 3-day forest patrol as ordered by her senior officer. Before leaving, she hears a news report on her radio about the increasing number of people disappearing in the forest. The news states that the government isn't taking any action, even though senior forest ranger officials are aware of the situation, but are keeping it from the public. Lennon is listening to this when her radio's battery dies. When she checks her bag for extra batteries, she realizes she forgot to bring them. So, she continues her patrol without the radio. A little while later, as evening turns into night, she starts to feel a bit uneasy. It's her first night out, but as she walks further, she hears a signal sound coming from a radio. Lennon is quite startled, holding her radio in her hand because it has no batteries. And just then, the same black deer she saw earlier while driving reappears in front of her. This time, too, the deer vanishes in the blink of an eye. But before Lennon can process anything, another forest ranger named Jackson arrives. Like Lennon, he's also been sent for a 3-day forest surveillance. Jackson then takes Lennon to a waterfall where they eat and talk. Through their conversation, Lennon learns that Jackson has been working as a ranger in this forest for the past 10 years and knows a lot about it. After spending the night, they both set off on their separate paths again in the morning. Before leaving, Jackson gives Lennon a battery for her radio. Lennon finishes her day's duty and returns to her camp. Back at the camp, while resting, she starts thinking about her sister. Looking at the forest map, she marks several places. These are the spots where she had come with her sister. After marking those places on the map, Lennon visits them every day, trying to find her sister, but finds no clues. A few days pass like this. Then, one night, as Lennon is sleeping in her camp, she suddenly hears someone calling for help from outside. When she goes out to look, she sees a man, injured, running towards the forest, calling for help. Lennon follows the man with her flashlight, but for a moment he's visible, and the next, he's gone. Despite searching everywhere, Lennon can't find the man. Frightened, she returns to her camp and is unable to sleep the entire night due to fear. The next day, Lennon reports the incident to her seniors. As a result, several rangers arrive to thoroughly search the forest. We learn that the injured man from last night had come camping with his girlfriend, Sarah, just yesterday. Suddenly, both of them disappeared, and their signal has been lost. Lennon is quite shocked by this news and offers to join the other Rangers in searching for Sarah and her boyfriend. However, the manager refuses her request. He sends the other Rangers to look for them, but tells Lennon to stay at the camp. Despite the manager's orders, Lennon sets out to find Sarah and her boyfriend herself. She goes deep into the forest, far from the camp. Suddenly, memories from her childhood flood back. This was the last place she saw her sister. Lennon stops here to rest for a while, and evening falls as she continues her search for Sarah in this dense forest. But Lennon finds no trace of Sarah or her boyfriend. After a long search, Lennon sees a girl standing in the forest in a very strange condition. It looks like she has endured a lot of suffering. When Lennon gets closer, she realizes this girl is Sarah, the one who disappeared with her boyfriend. Lennon informs the other Rangers, who all arrive at the location. The manager scolds Lennon severely for her actions. He tells her, "Despite my orders, you try to find Sarah?" Although Lennon did a good job finding Sarah, her disobedience means she has to leave her job within the next 7 days. During this time, Lennon must stay in her camp and not go outside for anything. All the other Rangers are also quite angry with Lennon. Lennon can't understand why she's being fired instead of praised for finding Sarah. She just can't grasp it. Back at her camp, Lennon sits dejectedly. She can't settle down in the camp anymore. Breaking the rules once again, Lennon goes out on patrol and feels a strange shadow following her. Lennon gets very scared and quickly returns to her camp. But outside the camp, she sees the same shadow again. In a frightened voice, Lennon says, "I have a gun. I'll shoot. Get out of here." Hearing Lennon's voice, whatever it was leaves. After this, Lennon gets a call that a man is lost in the forest. Hearing this, Lennon thinks that the strange presence she felt in the forest earlier might have been that man. So, forgetting all her fear, she takes a flashlight and sets out to find him. After walking quite deep into the forest, Lennon sees a large hole that looks exactly like her village. Lennon can't understand how she could have reached her village so quickly, or how this hole could be here. Seeing this, she gets terrified, but then a dangerous voice echoes through the forest, saying, "Lennon, you should be where you are." Hearing this, Lennon runs in fear. But suddenly, her foot hits a stone. She injures her head. The next morning, when she regains consciousness, a memory of her sister comes to mind. Her sister was saying, "Give me back my thing." Lennon doesn't understand what her sister was talking about. She also remembers the manager's words. No one will take anything from the forest, no one will leave anything, and no one will die there. Lennon is now mentally distressed and can't comprehend anything. She continuously tries to contact the manager on her radio. Just then, she sees blood dripping from a tree, and Sarah, covered in blood, emerges from behind it. Lennon is terrified to see Sarah, as she had already rescued her. Out of fear, Lennon bows her head and sits on the ground. But then, she understands one reason why Sarah might be there. Lennon realizes she has broken the forest's rules, and perhaps that's why this cursed forest keeps bringing Sarah's spirit back to haunt her. Terrified, Lennon flees deeper into the woods, where she suddenly sees Mr. and Mrs. Finley, who had come here for camping. Seeing Mr. Finley brings Lennon a small sense of relief, and she moves toward them, calling for help. To her astonishment, Mr. Finley doesn't seem to see her. She's screaming and shouting, but she's completely invisible to them. A little further on, she spots another ranger. But when she gets closer, she realizes it's her own doppelganger, holding a gun, who then shoots Mrs. Finley directly. This sight terrifies Lennon even further. As she moves forward, Lennon sees Mr. Finley cutting open Mrs. Finley's chest. This horrific scene utterly paralyzes Lennon's ability to think or understand. Terrified, Lennon runs from this spot as well. A short distance away, she sees posters of missing people on the trees. She starts looking at them, and one of the posters is of her own sister, Jenny, who went missing in this forest years ago. Lennon takes the poster and returns to her camp. But as she enters, She feels as though the camp has transformed into her own home. She looks around and sees her mother chewing on her own fingers, telling her, "Give back what you took." Lennon goes upstairs and sees preparations for her sister, Jenny's funeral. This means Jenny is dead and has been placed in a coffin. But when Lennon opens the coffin, she finds the same deer inside that she had been seeing repeatedly. This sight scares Lennon even more. She then goes into a room filled with water. In the middle of the water stands her sister, Jenny. Jenny looks at her and says, "You are where you were meant to be." With that, Jenny vanishes. A little later, Lennon's manager arrives. Lennon asks him, "Are you real or fake?" The manager replies, "I'm real. I've come here to tell you something. I know what you're seeing right now. In fact, you're not at the camp. Perhaps you're somewhere else because this forest is cursed. If someone gets lost here, you should never look for them. You made a big mistake by saving Sarah. I found your sister Jenny, but I didn't save her because in this forest, someone has to be sacrificed for someone else." The manager then tells her, "Look, if you want to save yourself in this forest, you'll have to kill someone and surrender their body to it. Otherwise, one day, this forest will devour you too." Lennon is shattered by this because she can't take a life. But if she doesn't offer a body to the forest, she won't survive herself. Hearing this, we understand why that old ranger wrote those words. The manager then says, "I was bound by the spirit of this forest, and today I will surrender myself to it." Saying this, he calls out Lennon's name and gives himself up to the forest. Suddenly, hands emerge from the darkness and pull Lennon away. Lennon is saved from that terrifying forest. She finds herself in a lake, where Jackson saves her life. And now, Lennon slowly starts to understand everything. After the manager's death, Jackson is given the responsibility of the headquarters. He begins instructing all the new rangers, just like before, saying, "Don't take anything from the forest, don't leave anything behind, and most importantly, don't die." Lennon, who now knows all the forest's rules, returns to her duty at the forest camp. But one day, while she's patrolling the forest, a lost tourist appears before her. He asks Lennon, "Are you real or fake?" She tells the man, "I am your imagination." With that, she moves on without offering any help.